Whenever we think of vacations, we always look at beaches or mountains. But have you ever considered going to a city maybe for a vacation? Truth be told, I love cities as a vacation spot because they have so much to offer. A peek inside the culture, amazing food, and of course, beautiful architectural wonders. So join me as I take you along through an amazing week-long vacation that we had in the city of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So last night we took a flight from Chennai and landed in Kuala Lumpur at 11 p.m. It was already really late, so all we did was got ourselves some cash, took a cab and reached our hotel at Ibis Kuala Lumpur City Centre. This is right in the middle of the city, so we have access to all the important spots right around us. So now that it's the next day and we're all fresh and ready, it's time for us to go out exploring. So the first thing that catches anyone's attention during a city vacation is the city skyline. And the most important element of Kuala Lumpur skyline are the Petronas Towers. So we've now come to the most popular landmark in Kuala Lumpur, the Petronas Towers, and they are huge. They are the tallest twin towers in the world, and honestly, they are absolutely gorgeous. There's also a mall, fountain, and a garden to go along with it. So we decided that this is the first thing we want to check out. Up next, we decided to visit a grocery store, which is my favorite thing to do in a new country because it gives you a lot of insight about the place as well. A, you see a lot of local shopping there, so you get a little bit of an idea about their tastes and preferences. And B, you also get to know how expensive it would be to live in a city like that. So for me, visiting a grocery store is an absolute must. Okay, this is the sushi collection and it has to be some of the freshest looking sushi I've ever found in a store. She's packing it so well, like properly organized. Next day, we decided to go to an amusement park an hour outside of Kuala Lumpur city. And we were really surprised to see that it was actually built in the lap of nature, on top of a hill with amazing views surrounding it. One thing that I've loved about Kuala Lumpur so far is that it has blended city vibes with nature pretty effectively, and there seems to be no compromise on that. Okay, now let's talk about food, and there's so much to talk about here. Most Malaysians are big-time foodies, so food is a big part of the culture here. To explore the city's food at its best, I categorize them into 5 boxes. Number 1, Chinese food, because there's a big Chinese settlement here. Number 2, Indian food, because again, big Indian settlement here. Number 3, local Malay food. Number 4, mall food, which is surprisingly good here. And number 5, fancy food at KL's amazing lineup of top quality bars and restaurants. So, let's start with Chinese food, which can all be found clubbed together in Petaling Street, KL's largest Chinatown. Our first stop here was Shi Xiong Fun, which is run by a Chinese mother-son duo. It was a rice noodle dish with their signature red sauce, and I have to say, it's the most amazing thing I tried in Kuala Lumpur. Spicy, tangy, and oh so unique. I would give it a 10 on 10. Next up, we went to a mochi stall run by the cutest grandma ever. She's been running the stall for over 50 years and is really famous all over the city. We tried mango mochi, a sticky rice dessert with peanut coating, and it was quite yummy. My husband became an instant fan of it, and I'd also give it a solid 8 on 10. Next stop for us was Kim Soya Bean, and this place is quite legendary. They've been running it for over 80 years, and there was a long queue of people lined up to get their soy milk and soy milk desserts. We got their warm soy milk pudding. It was soft, creamy, and very interesting in texture. But the taste for me was not the best. Mainly because I don't like soya milk, so I think that's on me. But if you do like it, I'm told it's one of the best. We tried Chinese roasted duck next at a Hong Kong duck stall, and oh my god, my mind was blown. So much flavor with so few ingredients. It felt like sorcery, honestly. Solid 9 on 10 for me. We also went to restaurant 168 in Chinatown, which is popular for its wonton mee. And they serve soupy and juicy noodles with seafood wontons. I have to say, this place served the best broth I've ever had in my whole life, and it was for just under 100 rupees per person. I could not believe the prices here. It was absolutely delicious, 9 on 10. And lastly, we went to Kim Liam Ki, a legendary restaurant in Chinatown with so many delicacies to offer. But we wanted to try two things: Hokkien mee, a dark soy sauce noodle dish, and char kway teow, a rice noodle dish. Char kway teow for me was very close to pad thai, so even though I really enjoyed it, it wasn't new, so I wasn't blown away. But Hokkien mee was a delicious new discovery. Oh my god, why can't we find this in India? It had crispy pieces of pork in it as well, so I'd 100% give it a 10 on 10. Moving on to Indian food. So ideally, whenever I visit a new country, I don't ever eat Indian food because I'm always excited about trying local food from the country itself. But Malaysia was different. It has a large Indian settlement, and Indian food here is not your typical Indian food. Over the years, it's molded itself into a completely different Malaysian version of Indian food, so I was super excited to try that. We visited Mason Tea Stall to try roti canai, a roti dish unlike anything we find in India. It was served with some gravy and soft-boiled eggs, and the result was delicious. So flaky and so unique, like a mixed breed of Rumali roti, Malabar parota, and naan. I mean, what's not to like here? Next up, Malaysian food. So Malaysia's unofficial national dish is called nasi lemak, a coconut rice preparation served with the meat or veggies of your choice. We went to a place called Nasi Lemak Wonjo in Kampong Baru, a traditionally local Malaysian area in Kuala Lumpur. We got nasi lemak with fried chicken and some local Malaysian coffee. I know I've been saying this for almost everything, but guys, this was absolutely delicious too. Nasi lemak at first looked a little dry to me, so I was apprehensive. But the flavors were so intense and awesome, and it honestly made my day. And Malaysian coffee? Oh my god, this needs to be a thing. Way better than any 500 rupee latte you'll find anywhere, and it was just 60 rupees. Next Malaysian local dish we tried was a burger. Yup, sounds weird, I know, because Southeast Asia is mostly about rice and noodles, but Ramly Burger is a Kuala Lumpur institution. You'll find it all over the city, and you can get them made with chicken, lamb, or beef. We got the chicken and cheese Ramly burger, and is it weird if I say that it's now my favorite burger in the whole world? So creamy, so cheesy, so saucy. I mean, they go all out when making this for you. Now let's move on to mall food. The real foodies watching this would have already rolled their eyes at the thought of this, but trust me guys, Malaysian mall food is amazing. We tried some Korean seafood ramen at Surya KLCC Mall's food court, and my expectations were low. I was hoping to get an instant ramen packet served to me with seafood on top of that, but nope. This was legit, guys. The broth was made from scratch, and it didn't have that typical processed ramen noodle taste. It was delicious and yum and so fresh. A solid 9 on 10. Next small food we tried was at Genting Highland. What's the one thing you won't expect to find or try in a mall food court? Oysters, right? But this mall had a big oyster bar, and their oysters looked so fresh that we had to try. We got ourselves some European oysters, and I don't even know what to say. Just that it was an absolute 10 on 10. And while we were at Genting Highland, we also went to try some Korean barbecue. We ordered fermented soybean broth with seafood and noodles, and while this was relatively not as mind-blowing as others, it was still a solid 7 on 10 because the place was such a vibe. And lastly, let's talk about the fancy food scene in Kuala Lumpur. KL has a lot to offer for fine dining lovers. There's tasting menus, rooftop bars, luxury buffets, and everything else you can ask for. But we decided to go to Nobu, a world-famous Japanese restaurant which was on our list for years now. This place was an absolute vibe, guys. The view was breathtaking, the service was on point, and the food. What do I even say about the food? The scallop sashimi, the sea urchin sushi, the abalone sushi, everything was just perfect. So that's it for Kuala Lumpur, guys. Malaysia is an amazing destination for Indians because not only is it budget friendly, but it also gives insight into a lot of diverse cultures in one place. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Bye.